This is Ian Westhoff. With me is the master of the masters of the universe, Tommy Romero, listening to the Toy Lines podcast. For those of you first tuning in, thank you very much for taking the time out to listen to us. And for those of you who are coming back, thank you again for coming back. You just heard Some Assembly Required, Toy Lines theme song, not to be confused with Batteries Not Included by Chad Westhoff. I hope everybody's doing well and being safe. How you doing, Tommy?
All right, yourself?
I'm all right. Believe it or not, Tom, you didn't know this, but we got a little bit of fan mail. I wanted to read to you. This is okay. Dear Toy Lines, I enjoy your podcast. I find it very informative, sometimes funny. I enjoyed your guest, your guest last week. Tommy, this one's about you. I find you very interesting. You're very well spoken, bringing good points to the matter. Ian, you really need to shut your mouth. I'm tired of hearing what that was my mother. I'm sorry. And we can edit that out, Tommy. We don't. But seriously, we're on a 4th podcast. And Tommy, I want to just throw this out before we started. What is the coolest toy you've seen this week? Out of research or in a store? What's the one toy that you saw you were just like, that is so cool?
Oh, that would be the Mondo Man-at-Arms figure from Mondo Collectibles.
Okay.
That thing's incredible. There's pictures of it on our Instagram. You can find at Toy Lines. That thing's humongous. It's great.
How big is it?
It's 1/12 scale, and it's currently, if you want the exclusive version, which is selling out fast, it's currently $195.
What's the exclusive version? What's the difference?
It comes with Orko in a jar and the Snakehead Man-at-Arms from the 2000X series.
It is cool.
Yeah, and then there's a regular version without Orko or the Snakehead for $190.
The reason why I was just asking is because in getting ready for this week's show, I saw something from last year I didn't even know existed, and it's really cool. It's a Lego 1989 Batmobile from the 89 movie.
Yes.
I've never seen that before, and that thing is cool. I am terrible at Legos, but I think if I ever had that and built it, I would use crazy glue so it would never break. That was the coolest toy I saw this week.
Yeah, I actually have the Batmobile from the Christian Nolan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that thing's a tank. It's awesome.
Was that tough to put together?
No, it's actually quite relaxing. So if you're looking for some therapeutic relaxation hobby or something to do, yeah, I highly suggest Legos.
I was never good at putting Legos together. I always felt like when
there's instructions.
No, you know what it is? I think I put too much pressure and it breaks in my hand.
Oh.
And but like, they're cool. And that Batmobile just looks so incredible. I was like, I would just want it built and so that it would never fall apart. And it comes with like Batman, the Joker, and Vicky Vale. And it's just, I don't know, it's the first time I saw it. So I was like, wow, that is cool.
Yeah, I believe it came out last Christmas.
Yes, yeah. Because the thing that I was reading was dated at November 19. So I was like, wow, how did I miss that?
The only problem is I'm not a big Lego person, so I usually keep my shelf space for figures.
Right, okay.
The nice thing about them, they're so huge that they actually do take up space.
Now, you have the Falcon, don't you?
I do. I have the Millennium Falcon, yep. And I'm still looking for a spot for it.
I think we discussed this once where you were saying you were going to get like a coffee table, like a glass covered coffee table.
Yeah.
That would be cool. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Ian, it's so fragile though. That's the only bad part. I'm afraid to move it.
Yeah. I could totally understand that. How much does it weigh?
That's a great question. Honestly, if I had to pick it up, I'd say, 5, maybe 6 pounds.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more because of the amount of Legos involved.
What was it? It was over 3,000 pieces.
Good God.
It took me 6 months to build.
So, Tommy, I was thinking about toys like we usually do. And I was kind of thinking that there's 3 pieces to a toy line. So your first is the action figures, which is pretty much what everybody has. It's like your main thing. Whatever, it's the one thing you collect mostly. It's what you're always playing with. It's just what your go-to. The second thing would be a vehicle. And that would be like, we're going to include anything from a spaceship to a horse to a car. It's just anything, Battle Cat. I would put in that category. Could be considered a character, but for this, I would consider it just a vehicle because of the categories I'm using. And the third, I would say, is playsets. And the playset I always thought of as like, that's the big one. That's birthday or Christmas. That is what you're waiting, because you're not getting it on any other day. Parents are going to give us too much money. It's this. So Christmas Eve, you're praying for that Castle Grayskull, Ewok Village, and you're like, oh man. And then and like Christmas morning comes, and you're tearing through presents, and you're like, you want to slow down, so you don't want this thing to end, but you need to find that. And for some reason, I guess it's like memory forced perspective. Like you like, man, I remember that box being much bigger when I was a kid, but when you find it, you're just like, yes. And there were some pretty great play sets built, definitely in the 80s, today as well. But I thought maybe we could discuss play sets, maybe go over just some of our favorites, or if you don't have a favorite, some that you don't like, or whichever. So do you have any favorite play sets?
My current favorite is the Castle Grayskull from the Classics collection.
Is that the Super 7 or is that Mattel?
No, that was Mattel at the time, yeah. Yeah, the Four Horsemen did a fantastic job on it. The amount of detail they put a lot of work into it.
Is it like more detail than the original?
Much.
Really? Like yeah. the rock work and the door and stuff like that?
The rock work. There is a secret door now on the side. The size of this playset is massive. It's built for adventure. You can place your figures all over it. Vehicles can go inside it. The sorceress has her throne. There's a dungeon, a place to chain up intruders. The spacesuit that was a vintage sticker is an actual piece. The trapdoor is always a lot of fun. The color of the rock is perfect. I mean, He-Man looks incredible at the entrance holding his sword aloft. The Four Horsemen really put in a lot of work into this playset, and I'm really glad it exists in my collection.
Oh, okay.
But there are a lot of accessories that come with it. The swappable skull heads are kind of nice.
What, for the face of it?
So on the elevator on the inside, there's two skull heads on it. They're gold. They're removable. You can actually put it on one of the figures.
Oh.
You can make like a Skeletor henchman. Up on top, there's a trapdoor.
But that was always there, right? The trapdoor?
On the second floor. There's another smaller door upon the crown that you can put like, weapons, or it does come with an orb that technically it's supposed to go in there.
Does it come with that like laser gun thing?
It does. Yep. And the flags. Yeah, it's incredible. Back then, when you originally ordered it, it was retailing for $300, but it's worth every penny.
Did you open yours?
Oh yeah. Got mine for Christmas. The way it was set up was Mary, my wife, she sent it to me as a Christmas gift, and she shipped it out to New Jersey. Originally, the vintage one, my father and I built it together. It was what we did during Christmas. And so the way she had it set up with him was I was going to get it on Christmas, and we were going to build it together.
That's nice.
20 years later. So yeah, that's
nice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite memories on it.
Good call, Mary. And it's a nice memory for you and your dad.
Yeah. So what's one of your favorites, Ian?
I'm going to save my all-time favorite for last. One of my favorites is the Dagobah one from Empire Strikes Back. It's not a big playset. I don't really know why either. I just remember it's got like the little hut. It's got that little patch of foam for the swamp. I think it's got something for like R2 or something to kind of levitate or something. I just remember it was a decent size. It didn't take up too much space. It was a key scene from Empire. You didn't need it pretty much was what it was. It was like Yoda's little hut and a little patch of swamp, which I think was pretty much all of it. I haven't seen a picture of it in a while. It was a pretty cool thing. So that's one of my when I look back, I like that one. Just another one for you.
Cat's Lair also came out in the 80s.
I've actually I haven't. I'm not too familiar with that, so I was never a Thundercats fan, so I don't.
It was released twice. The first one was in 86, then they reissued it in 87. If you were a Thundercats fan, it was cool. There was lasers on it. You can actually interact. This was that laser light craze from Captain Power.
Kind of like an infrared where like you'd trigger
exactly. Right. You would play it against one of the mutant vehicles.
Okay.
And then, buzzers would go off. Cat paws actually opened up. I mean, they weren't big enough
for the figures or anything.
No, it complemented the figures pretty well actually. But if you're trying to get the Thunder Tank under there, yeah, it just wasn't to scale.
Let me just ask you this real quick.
Sure.
I never had this. I had Castle Grayskull. I had Snake Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a He-Man question, obviously. Tell me about the Eternia playset, because I'm not too familiar. I just remember I see pictures of it on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, this thing is gigantic. So what's that about?
So the Eternia playset was the ultimate battleground. At the time, it was the largest playset Mattel had ever created. It consisted of the central tower, which was the lion's head, and movable arms, Viper Tower for Skeletor and the Snake Men, and Grayskull Tower for the good guys. One of the cool things about this playset was the monorail system. You can put a character in a pod and it would transport the character wherever throughout the battleground. At the time, it was so expensive, so not many collectors actually got it when they were a child, so it's considered a holy grail amongst the Masters of the Universe community. I remember being at PowerCon last year, and I believe someone spent like $3,000 on it. I know they filmed it for Action Figure Adventure, so I don't know if it made the cut.
Did you have this as a kid?
I didn't.
No?
Because it had a monorail on it, and
Okay.
I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
So it's basically another battleground that they battled at.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know anything about that. And that was well after I stopped with He-Man. So I had to ask you, because I've seen it on Instagram on a lot of the He-Man sites. And I was like, what is this Eternia thing? Interesting.
Yeah, it had 4 floors. I mean, it was
Oh,
it was something.
that's interesting. See, one of my least favorite playsets, this might be blasphemy, the Death Star from the late 70s, early 80s. Basically because it was like this plastic frame with cardboard, and it had the big stupid gun on top, and then like it had the trash compactor, which you would turn and it would kind of go in, and had the little pieces of foam, and it had the Dianoga. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but from like the head, if you stuck with the head up through the foam, it looked fine, although it kind of looked like a foot. But when you actually looked at that creature, you're like, what the hell is this? It's like a shark with a foot on its head. I remember having it. I wouldn't really want it again. Like, I just wasn't impressed. Like, looking back, I'm like, it's not that impressive. I thought the like the Hoth Trench playset, where like the bridge kind of collapsed, that was small, but still more impressive than the Death Star. But that's my least favorite.
Now, what about today? What playsets would you like to see today, like actually happen? I mean, because of costs of plastics and molding and tooling. I mean, the new Snake Mountain, which is supposedly coming out really soon, is retailing for $600. Probably once it's released, that number's going to skyrocket astronomically.
So this is, but it's for that price. It's geared to collectors than say kids, right? Right. So are we talking something geared towards a collector or a kid?
The Ninja Turtles playset, the
Yes.
sewer system,
Yeah.
that I could see as being affordable for today's market.
Yeah. It's not too big. It's has a couple little features.
Yeah, I mean it's essentially
2 floors.
Two boxes and a tube. I could see that. Although the rise of the Ninja Turtles, their playset's a lot bigger. But
did they make
it's doing well.
Did they make a Technodrome?
They did. Back in the vintage era.
Right.
Or Playmates did.
If I wanted to see something today, I think actually, you know what I would want? Because it doesn't exist. The Bulldog Cafe from the Rocketeer. That would be pretty cool.
Nice.
Because
that'd be a good Lego set.
That would be. The closest thing that ever came out was a cookie jar that was pretty tough to get back when the movie came out. And Rocketeer merchandise wasn't a lot. So if you had a Bulldog Cafe playset with the little front door that opens and it kind of like swings open, so you can have like the little diner and then little steps go into the attics where he blasts off, that would be pretty cool. And it would be a good way to carry your figures, in which case they would need to make more Rocketeer figures. So that's what I would like to see. And that, I think, you don't need to go too crazy within height, and it could be pretty decently priced if Disney would ever make it. So, depending which version you go in, movie or comic.
What's kind of interesting, at least in my opinion, the female collectors out there, they really haven't had their, aside from Barbie, but not every girl likes Barbie.
No,
Like
some will like collect the just the Disney dolls, like the Disney Hasbro, the Princess dolls, Descendants.
right, but they never really had their own playset. Not
Just the
for
Bart,
the female adult
just the
collector.
Dreamhouse. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Nowadays, Monster High had a castle, which is Mattel. Ever After High had a castle. I think the Monster High was taller.
Well, Frozen also had a castle too
That's right.
when they were released.
Yeah, it was like
But I'm talking about like the hardcore female collector. I mean,
well, let's.
there are few.
What about
Granted.
my wife used to collect Shira?
Okay.
Did they ever have a playset for that?
They had the Crystal Castle,
Okay,
which was kind of, it looked nothing like the cartoon show,
right.
but
Those
it had
dolls,
like a weird face.
and those dolls are. I remember when she was selling them. They are, they all had weapons and this and that, but they all had like actual hair. And oh yeah, I see what you're looking at the picture now. That looks really weird, actually. What planet was she on? She was in Eternia, right?
No, it was Etheria.
Etheria, okay. And that's where Hordak was, correct?
Yeah, well, in the Filmation series, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, did they ever get around to rebuilding that with all the the re-release She-Ra toys? Were they Matty collector toys?
The figures were part of the classics line.
Okay.
And then Super 7 came out with 2 from the new Netflix series. Those were the only 2 that were released. She-Ra and Catra.
The Netflix series does have toys, right?
Just those 2 figures. The 2 action figures from Super 7, and then Mattel released some 12-inch dolls.
So they have
rubied hair, and
they made She-Ra, and they made one other person.
She-Ra and Catra, and then the actual dolls they had a whole line for.
Oh, okay. So I didn't watch the show, so I was just kind of.
They also included Glimmer as a doll and Bo.
Bo was the dude, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't he have like a heart on that kind of like came out or something on the original toy?
Yeah.
I remember. I think my sister.
Well, in the vintage
yes.
one, yeah, it was a heartbeat. Like you
right.
push a button, and
it's not the Don Johnson song Heartbeat. This is
not
that trash. For a playset. Do you have any others?
Well, we have to talk about the USS Flag.
Monstrous.
The big one from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Vintage.
I can tell you. I mean, you look at this picture, folks. We're looking at a picture. You have an actual plane on it, and there's still. You could probably put 3 planes on this thing, Tom. Would you say?
Yeah, and still room enough for figures.
Yeah, what is that? The Conquest X-30, I think, that G.I. Joe ship there. I think that's what it is.
Let's see.
My Joe days.
It's 7 feet in length. It was based on the USS Nimitz.
Did it come with the plane or no?
No.
I remember wanting this. I never had it, but I remember a friend of mine in school did. And the first time I saw it, I was like, good God. It's just, I couldn't imagine putting this thing together or waiting for my dad to put it together. Because it's just like the size of this thing. It's just like, if you stood this up, it's taller than me.
Oh, yeah. Here, get this. So when it was first released, it retailed for $109. Now, if HasLabs...
wait. 109.
Yeah. If HasLabs had this today...
400.
Probably more.
That's incredible. This was... what year is this? This is like 85. 85. That had to have been a lot back then. Right?
Oh, yeah.
$109. Good God.
Yeah, 1985 money.
I mean, it should be like 100 a foot at least, because there really is a lot to it.
Yeah, there's sounds. There's
there was really
moving parts. Yep.
I see the crane. I see the anchor. I mean, there's just so much space too on the deck that you can put all these figures on. It's just the only thing you couldn't put it in the water. Take up the whole.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's not a tub toy. That would take up. That's gone. But yeah, that's like the ultimate.
And from what I'm told, it's the holy grail amongst G.I. Joe collectors. Really? Like, I have people I've talked to at length about this, that they're willing to spend like $3,000 on it if they can find it mint in box.
Just in box. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever have it?
No, I never.
No.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I think that is a standard that all playsets should be held to.
What's that?
The flag, the USS flag, just for the amount of work that had to go into designing that. It's incredible. Like I can't think of anything. Even my favorite playsets talk about. I can't think of anything that comes near that. That's just that's really incredible. So my favorite playset is also based off my favorite toy line, the Raiders of the Lost Ark toy line. Indiana Jones has always been my hero. And this toy line didn't really have a lot. It only had 11 figures total. Sold in stores was Indy, Marion, Sala, Belush, or Belloc, depending how you want to pronounce it. Tot, the Cairo swordsman, the German mechanic, Indy as a German officer. You had a vehicle. You had the Desert Convoy truck, which had a retractable rope. There was a mail-away figure, so I believe that would make it 12, actually. That was Belloc in the ceremony robe. I think they sold them on the card later on.
Is that one of those UPS-C things, or
you would cut the little Kenner points. I think they were the bar, like it was like a little perforated. Well, it wasn't perforated, but a little like dots around it. And you would cut it out, and you mail the proofs of purchase. That's what they used to call them, and you would mail those in. And then they had the horse. So playset wise, though, Raiders had 3, which are still kind of cool. The first was the map room. The map room is, of course, where Indy discovers where the Ark is. That came actually with an action figure. That came with Indiana Jones, and he had like the white robes on, so he would be in disguise, so the Germans wouldn't find him. That came basically, it was the little the little map room. It came with like I don't know what the archaeological term for this is, but it was like the tripod with that little thing that he was looking through. It had Indy had his bag with him, came with a grapple hook pickaxe, a little notebook, the staff of Ra, the little red medallion in the center. And when you would look through that little medallion, you would see where the Ark was. That was a pretty cool playset. It was, like I said, it was small, but you did get a figure with it, which was kind of neat. They had the Streets of Cairo, which was very basic, but that was...
How big was it?
Which one? Streets of Cairo?
Could you put it all together?
No, these were separate pieces. So like the map room was literally... You take a paperback book, I'm saying if it was the size of a paperback, that's how big it was, lengthwise. But it was cool. It was a key scene from the movie. So it worked. It was a smart choice. The Streets of Cairo, I don't know if it's a key scene, but it was a great scene from the movie where they're out walking the streets, him and Marion, and they get into that big street fight. And that also came with the figure. That came with the guy who had the monkey. He had the little eye patch.
Right.
So it came with him. It came with a cart, some baskets, fruit, little monkey, and a Marion Ravenwood that was huddled together so you could hide her in the basket. That was a good play set. I remember having it. I bought it, and I was in the 90s. I took it out of the box, and I was putting the wheel on the cart, and the friggin' peg broke. I was so upset. The best play set they had, though, key scene, The Will of the Souls. This did not come in figures, but this was a great set because it was getting the MacGuffin of the movie. You were finally there. And that came with actually came with a lot of stuff. It had 2 arches. It had the Ark of the Covenant, the cover that goes over it, 2 torches, 12 snakes, a mummy, and a grapple hook, and a breakaway wall. So that like when he knocks the statue down and do the wall would break away. And just the box designs were cool. The same design was on all the Indy merchandise. It was kind of like a hieroglyphic design.
Oh, cool.
But it was a cool toy. I remember having that one. Actually, I had all of them. I don't have any of them now. But it was a neat play set. I think the Kenner Raiders set just doesn't get the credit it deserves. I love it personally. But I'm an indie guy. And then if I had one other place that I would talk about, which is going to lead into a discussion of sorts, would be the Ewok Village, which I think was pretty much every kid might have had at one point. The Ewok Village was pretty cool. I remember, having it, and it was like, had the little net to capture the guys, and the elevator, the rock, and the little fire, and the little spit to turn Harrison Ford on. I just think like everybody had it. It was pretty cool. The real cool thing would be like parents had money back then. If you got like 20 of them, you made like a real village. That would have been cool. But
No, I never had it.
Oh, you never had it, really?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, so here's the interesting thing. Kenner had a lot of toy line. I think the best known for Star Wars, but they did other stuff. Star Wars play sets were actually some, I should say, retooled things from other toys that they made. Right. So, for instance, Star Wars had a Cantina playset, and the Cantina playset was just basically a plastic base with a cardboard background, and it had like a little bar for the bartender. The background was of all the aliens, and this little thing where Han and Greedo would shoot it out. And of course, Han shot first. This wasn't designed originally for that. This was a retooling of another toy that they put out. In 1969, a movie came out called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Mm-hmm. Excellent movie. The movie was very successful. 10 years later, they're like, let's make a sequel. But they couldn't because they both died at the end. So like, oh, let's make a prequel. Prequel's terrible. So in 79, they made this prequel called Butch and Sundance, The Early Days. What they did was they made 5 figures and 2 horses. One of the horses, well, the horses were the same. They were just painted differently. But that horse was retooled to be the horse from Raiders, the playset. Butch and Sundance horse names were Bluff and Spurs, which is like the dumbest names for a horse, personally. The figures just included Butch, Sundance, Marshall LaFours, O.C. Hanks, and Sheriff Bledsoe. And then they had a mail-away offer from Montgomery Ward's of Butch and Sundance. And Montgomery Ward's was even before my time. It was, I believe, a department store, wasn't it? I think it was. So these figures had like a quick draw action, just like the Indiana Jones Raiders figures did. So a lot of these Butch Cassidy toys were used for Raiders toys, which is why Indy's has a quick. I always thought it was because he had a whip, but his arm had it because of that. So after this movie bombed, they were making. They were like, all right, well, let's just make this Western themed. It was called the Real West series in 1980. This included those figures. But it was going to have 3 more figures, which was going to be Billy the Kid, Jesse James, and Geronimo. But they never got released. So the difference in between what they were going to make for this was a Western bar. And then when you see pictures of this and then you look at the Cantina, they look very much, you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, was it a straight up repaint?
It was a straight up everything. Well, not everything, but yeah. So Star Wars was yellow. The Western bar had a brown base. The background in Star Wars was, of course, Cantina aliens. The background in the Western bar was bar related, probably like bottles of beer or whatever alcohol they served back then. They had the same space where Han shot Greedo, so you can have a little barroom shootout. They had little swinging doors like in a canteen. It had a bartender. And a chandelier. They had levers too on the floor, I think, so you could move people from side to side. And Star Wars had those same levers. So with the exception of moving just the paint job and the background, they were able to reuse this toy set. And I never knew that until recently. And I was like, I remember having that. I think I got it from Sears. When you look at the two things side by side, you're like, good God, it's literally the same thing.
Well, that's how a lot of toy companies are making money.
Yeah,
just reuse parts.
I guess it makes sense for Kenner because you have this mold already made, and you're making a toy based on a movie that has a bar in it, and like, why make a whole new thing? We just change a little, and as a kid, you don't know, and now it's just like cool history. It's like, oh, cool. Apparently, the Kenner Butch and Sundance and all that stuff, those are pretty sought after toys. Star Wars did the same thing though. So there was a Star Wars a stand. I think I remember having this as a kid, and you could stand like 12 figures on it. Now the Star Wars one, the base was gray and it had a cardboard background of an X-wing fighter, and this is all it was a stand. And I remember having this and standing my figures on it and putting it on the dresser. The cool thing was, or I don't know if it's cool or not, this was actually a toy line called Glamour Girls, and they took the Glamour Girls and retooled it for the Star Wars. So the difference was the base was a different color. Glamour Girls had a black base, and the background was the skyline. So I didn't know that until recently. I was like, oh man, it's a girl's toy. But that was pretty interesting. I was like, it's kind of cool. But the creme de la creme of Kenner using their existing products for something else is the Ewok Village. And I'm gonna just ask if you know what I'm talking about before I go into it.
No, go into it.
Oh, so you don't know this part? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ewok Village, you spot like a mile away, right? You've seen pictures of it.
Right.
1991, when The Rocketeer came out, that movie competed with Terminator 2 and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Kenner had the toy line for Robin Hood, and they used the Ewok Village for Sherwood Forest. So, which makes sense. I mean, I got to give them credit. It's, but what they did was they took the Ewok Village and they put like these big leaves over the top to make it trees.
Okay.
And they made some changes to it to kind of, make it more of
make it more Sherwood.
So they did, the trees with the leaves. They got rid of the Ewok drums. The huts were still built into the trees, but on the Ewok Village, they were like yellow, kind of like a thatchy kind of material. These were painted to blend into the color of the forest. The chair for C-3PO that the Ewoks carried him in wasn't there. And they got rid of the fire pit and the little spit for Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
The wooden stick elevator was still there. It had held one figure. The boulder on a rope that was on the original was still there. And the net trap that captured, just like you put your figure in it and pull the net up and it would catch the guys. That was still on it. But not to get too off topic, Kenner did this as well with the figures. So if you ever look at like a Robin Hood toy from this toy line, most of the figures are like Sid from Toy Story, where they took pieces from different things and like kit bashed them. So Robin Hood is actually the body of Green Arrow from Superpowers, completely repainted. Even has the G, the emblem for the G for, and they just swapped the head. There was two Robin Hoods, but that was like the main one. Another favorite is just two more, like Little John. So Little John, of course, or John Little, depending on how you remember him from the movie. All these figures had like a cloth material on them. So if you took his cloth off, he was Hawkman's torso. And they kept it. So if you remember the Hawkman superpowers, he had the emblem and then like these straps. The straps on the original were yellow, and they painted these black on John Little, and then the logo of the Hawk was painted out. But the legs don't actually match the torso of the body. So there's kind of like this weird space in between. There's rumors that they used the Batman superpowers legs for that one. My favorite, and this is the last one, my favorite one though is Friar Tuck. So there's no fat superpowers toys, because Friar Tuck he's a chunky little guy. When he took his robe off, it was a Gamorrean guard. Yeah. So the funny, no, he wasn't green. He was painted flesh color.
Right.
But he's got this, just the funniest thing if you look this up, he's got the little sandals on like the Gamorrean guard had. This is from the Return of the Jedi line. He had there were a few slight changes. Chest plate, I think, was altered a little. They obviously took the pig head off and gave him a human head, and instead they put onto this one a knife for him. But he really looks like the Gamorrean. Like when you take that thing off, you're like, damn, that's a Gamorrean guard. It's just, you can't even like say it's not. It's just really cool. Anybody who has one out there, I recommend looking or just checking that on Google, because they did a lot more of the figures were like that. It's really neat, actually.
Yeah, most toy lines were always doing like weird swappable parts like that.
Yeah.
I remember, you ever see the movie Demolition Man?
No.
With Sylvester Stallone?
No.
Okay. So Mattel came out with figures for this movie line. Now, the same gold battle armor on New Adventures of He-Man is the exact same armor from the Sylvester Stallone figure from Demolition Man. Yep.
So this is when He-Man was he wasn't as muscular, right?
Right. This was the New Adventures line where he went out into space.
Okay. But he was still called He-Man, right? Wasn't there a guy like Hero or something like that? Like his son's name or
Yes. In the classics line, there's Hero 1 and Hero 2. Hero 2 is He-Man's son.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind
And
of
then,
interesting.
and then Hero 1, originally in the vintage line, was the most powerful wizard in the universe. But coming into the classics line, they changed that.
So Hero 1 was a separate character.
Yes.
And Hero 2 was his son.
Correct.
It's a terrible name for a son. Was it HE like -RO or was it?
Well, actually, I'm not a big fan of his alter ego name. It's Dare.
Oh my lord.
Dare. But
yeah,
Lou Scheimer came up with it, so it's good in my book.
Right. All right. So yeah, it's interesting to look back on it now as like a toy collector and see how the companies did these things. I don't think as a kid we ever would have noticed. But now to go back and look at things and be like, hey, this toy is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to learn those things. So yeah, so those are the play sets that I remember.
As a reminder, why don't you join the conversation and email us at toyspodcast@gmail.com. Tell us all the stuff you like. What stuff would you like to see?
Any play sets you remember? Probably didn't mention some of them, so please, give us a shout out. Let us know your favorite playset, your least favorite playsets. I know there's got to be more than one. So what do we got for news, Tom?
A lot of good news this week. NECA Toys, for their San Diego Comic-Con release, has the Coming Out of Their Shells tour Ninja Turtles. You remember the Coming Out of Their Shells tour?
I do. I remember going to Pizza Hut to get the cassette.
Oh, you actually had the cassette. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't go to the tour, and I'm going to tell you right now, to this day, my favorite song is Count on Us. What goes, we're the turtles, you can count on us.
Mm-hmm.
I still listen to it on YouTube. That song is great.
Yeah, these figures from NECA are amazing.
Is this the first time these are being made?
Yes.
I'm surprised it took so long. Because there's been so many turtle not variants, but figures throughout the years.
Right.
Like, they did monsters and Star Trek and this and that. So I'm surprised, like when the Turtle Tour came out, these weren't made. But their vests look like denim, and I'm wondering if that's real denim material or not. But they are nice looking.
They are nice looking.
They do have leg warmers on, which is weird.
Yeah. They kind of remind me of Kiss.
Yeah, I keep thinking that. I think it's because of Leo and is it Mikey or Raph? Who's with
Mikey.
Okay, yeah. They got the thing by their eye.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Yeah, and the guitar too for Raph, and then Donatello's. He's got the little keyboard guitar thing. Is that a
keytar?
Keytar, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the box is awesome too. It looks like a music tour box, and then it opens. Yeah, then it opens up and the figures are displayed.
So when did these come out?
And then the background opens up as a stage. These will be available July 23rd.
So that's like 11 days.
Yep, and it will come with tour T-shirt, guitar picks.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then it's going to retail for $24.99. And then the actual musical muted and tour set will be $124.99.
Does that include anything extra?
I'm probably the box.
I know what the only thing,
and probably all the other stuff.
The only thing wrong with this is that you're not getting the music.
That's true. Well, I mean, you can download it now.
Yeah, but it's still cool. It's very cool. Yeah, I remember, like I say, I going to Pizza Hut, getting it as a freshman, and my brother, and it's me, my dad, my brother, and sister, and my brother, just busted on me, and I was like, it's like, screw you, dude! I got my turtles. It's just right. Because they had this thing. I don't know about. I don't know if it's a placemat or something. I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but it was like, they always said dude and this and that, and it was like, make sure you say dude, but too many dudes is rude, so don't be rude. I was like, just shut up. You gotta ruin everything. Older brothers, that's what they're there for.
So both these sets will be available at Target.com on July 23rd, and then for any overseas customers, you can go directly at the NECA store.
Got a little iGeek Disney news. for you Disney fans out there and Lego fans, Lego Mickey and Minnie Mouse buildable figures. Pre-order now, as in right now. And they will be in the Lego stores August 1st. Interchangeable expressions, and comes with a guitar, a photo album, and a camera. There is 1,739 pieces, $199.99. So anybody who likes Legos and Disney, this might be their gift.
You a big X-Men fan, Ian?
I like the concept. I never read the comic. It's too many characters. It sounds stupid, but
well, in that case, for all you X-Men fans, HasLabs is proud to announce its new figure, the Sentinel, from the X-Men, which will retail at $349.99. You get a 26.3-inch figure, master mold alternate Sentinel head, LED lights in the head and chest, 18-inch Sentinel tentacle accessory, a 6-inch Bastion figure, and a digital copy of X-Men 14.
So this thing is 2 feet 2 inches, so like 5 more feet to make that the size of the USS flag. Can you imagine if the thing was that big?
I'm waiting for HasLabs to come out with the USS flag.
You think they will?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, their first one was Jabba's sail barge. The second one was Unicron from Transformers the movie.
Okay.
And now the Sentinel.
I guess, you know what? Maybe.
So USS flag is I'm sure is on their list somewhere.
Man, if they make it like 9 feet, that'd be cool.
Where would you put it?
I don't know. It's like this. That'd be like the length of a couch.
Over 7,000 backers within the first 30 hours. So it's already met its minimum. So they're just going to start unlocking more features.
Explain that for a moment for me and people who might not know about the backers, what you just said. Like it's
basically a Kickstarter.
Okay, so it's only going to get made if it gets so many requests.
Exactly, but they've already met their limit.
Okay, so now they're making.
It's in production.
This is a go.
Right.
Cool.
Now it only gets better from here because now they have the extra head, and apparently there's going to be more stuff coming along for more money or more backers.
So people can still get one right now. They can still
purchase one up until August 24th on HasbroPulse.com.
Cool. For you Harry Potter fans out there, or you muggles, depending which one you are, Loot Crate has a Wizarding World box of goodies. This is the Room of Requirement. It comes with a Dumbledore's Army neck warmer. I don't know if that's like a scarf or a mask or whatever, but that's what it is. It comes with a spinner keychain, a Travel Wizard chess set, and more. This is priced at $39.99, and you can place the order by September 3rd at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I've never gotten a Loot Crate purse myself, but it sounds pretty cool. Lots of goodies. So and if you're into Harry Potter, that's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, Loot Crate, now that NECA took over.
Oh, did they?
Is a better service.
Oh, okay.
I got the first Ninja Turtle Loot Crate that NECA was putting out with the hologram Splinter from the 90 movie.
Yeah.
The other stuff I wasn't too crazy about, the T-shirt and came with a bunch of pins, but getting Splinter, was worth it.
Cool.
So Ian, do you remember Transformers, the animated movie?
I remember it. I did not see it.
At all?
At all. Never saw it.
Okay. Well, for those of you that haven't, no, it was a great film. Well, in my personal opinion, it's the best Transformer film ever. So, the hell with you, Michael Bay. Transformers Studio Series has leaked characters from the '86 movie, which will be available next year. So right now, you can expect to see Cup, Blur, Snarl, and Daniel, Spike's younger son.
Okay. Mezco fans and Beetlejuice fans. Say it once, say it twice, third time's a charm. Mezco's Megascale figure with sound, talking Beetlejuice. Years ago, Kenner put out a talking Beetlejuice, but this is from Mezco, which is pretty damn cool. You can pre-order this between now and October, and the toy will be out somewhere between October, December 2020. It has 7 phrases. I believe it is Michael Keaton when I was checking out the ad. It's 15 inches tall and has 11 points of articulation. So it's kind of cool. It's got white suit with the black stripes, the black boots, Beetlejuice face. So it's a pretty cool looking toy coming out.
Okay, the G.I. Joe classified figures. They've been appearing at Walmart and Target stores. Cheaper price, same figure, but with less accessories. I don't know what that's about.
Classified?
Yeah, the new 6-inch figures that have recently been coming out.
So you don't know because it's classified? So is this like the name of the new toy line?
Yeah, G.I. Joe classified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically Star Wars black. 6-inch G.I. Joe, more articulation,
got it.
more detail. But lately, I don't know if it's a Walmart thing or a Target thing, but there's also, Pixel Dan actually discovered this, so I'm giving credit where credit's due. There's 2 mini comics. One that comes with He-Man Origins. The second one comes with Skeletor Origins.
Okay.
Now, basically, it's the same comic, just bad grammar.
Really?
Yeah. And then if you were to look at both covers, slightly different looking at He-Man's face on the cover. So that must be a new trend. I don't know if they're trying to create, a variant boost or anything like that. So those are actually out. I believe they're $9.99 at Walmart. And then, the only one I've seen so far is Snake Eyes, and it's just basically the same figure, just without a sword, which is kind of ridiculous for a ninja.
No wolf?
No wolf.
More Disney news. For anybody who likes Descendants, Disney Descendants was a made for Disney Channel trilogy. I know there's a lot of dog collectors out there. Some of them might even be listening to us. The wedding 2-pack of Mal and Ben has been released. Mal is the daughter of Maleficent and Hades. Ben is the son of Belle and Beast. That's been released. The Mal reception doll has been released, and the Eevee reception doll has been released. So you can find these online, Amazon. I think they're Hasbro toys. So for you doll collectors out there, Disney fans, Descendants fans, here's 3 more dolls for you. For San Diego Comic-Con, factory convention exclusive, the Bruce the Shark Jaws. He's a plush. It's 12 inches, comes with 3 barrels. It's limited to 1,000 pieces. Looks pretty cool. So you Jaws fans out there. NECA, their 2020 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive is Gremlins. This actually coincides. It's kind of funny because it coincides with the year the Olympics came out, which is the same year the movie, which I believe was 85. It's a 7-inch figure. It's called the Ultimate Summer Game Gremlin, and it's striped as a swimmer. I don't know if you've seen this, but he's wearing a Speedo, which is actually real fabric. He's got a mask and a snorkel and flippers in the Olympic torque. Going to be released in Walmart on 7/23 for $29.96, but like we've been discussing, there's been some released already in stores. The NECA store will have this to order on their website on 7/23. It's at $34.99. It's a really cool looking toy, whether you're a Gremlins collector or not. It's just, I don't know, seeing a Gremlin in a Speedo is funny. I saw this week, and I might be too late in announcing it. There's this guy on his Facebook. His name is @Airmax, and Facebook is @airmax.animated. He created this is really cool. It's a custom beast walk. What this is it sounds strange at first, right? So it's a vintage Ewok figure, which I believe is Chief Chirpa, if I'm looking at it. They painted it to look like Beastman from He-Man. And the beast walk, according to this, comes from the planet Endoturnia. It comes on a card that says Masters of the Star Wars. They're limited to 21 pieces, and they go for $85 each, shipped anywhere in the continental United States. So if any of you He-Man collectors listening want to check that out, that's something. It's actually really cool. When I saw that, I was like, it's almost as cool as Stripe in a bathing suit. So I don't know how much are left, since this was during the week when I first saw this. But yeah, check it out, folks, if you can.
So Entertainment Weekly's Fandom Week will include exclusive panels with Scott Pilgrim versus the World Reunion and Smallville Heroes Reunited. The Scott Pilgrim versus the World Reunion brings back nearly the entire all-star cast, including Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Chris Evans, Audrey Plaza, Ellen Wong, and Kiernan Cullen. Mark Webber, Johnny Simmons, Allison Pill, Mae Whitman, Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman. So the cast will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World by reading the actual screenplay, and will be joined by director Edgar Wright. The creator himself, Brian Lee O'Malley, will also be at the event. And then the Smallville panel, I'll be honest with you, this kind of disappointed me. I mean, Tom Welling, Justin Hartley will be there. I think they missed the boat on this. I would have loved to have seen a straight-up reunion, but basically it's the guys that all came together that did the Smallville version of the Justice League.
Oh, so this isn't like a whole cast reunion kind of thing?
No, it's going to be Tom Welling, Justin Hartley, Kyle Gallner, Ellen Richson, Britt Irvin, Phil Morris, Elena Huffman, and they all played characters that were close to the characters on Justice League. Basically, the whole thing is going to be them talking about, what it'd be like to be Justice League on TV. I think they should have just done a straight-up reunion.
Yeah.
Netflix canceled Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and the CW has canceled Katie Keene, which is a devastating blow to the Archieverse, or at least the updated Archieverse.
What was Netflix's announcement? Just ran its course?
They probably, Netflix has a weird thing. From what I've heard, any show that passes like season 4 or 5, you're supposed to get a bonus. So I guess Netflix and all their debt wants to keep that bonus low. So they just start canceling shows. Sabrina was actually a good show.
I remember seeing some of the first season. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a little too dark for me.
Yeah, I think that was the appeal of it. Like, people didn't expect that coming out of an Archie thing.
Yeah, I remember Miranda Otto was in it, and I just remember her from being in Lord of the Rings, and it was like obviously it was a completely different character, but I was just like, wow, I can't believe that's Eowyn from Lord of the Rings. As long as I get Stranger Things eventually back on Netflix, I'll be happy. So I missed that show.
Umbrella Academy is at the end of July 31st.
You know what the problem is really is, since there's still a shutdown, some things are filming and some things aren't. So it's just like, take what you can get. But maybe cancellations are happening too because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was unclear the exact reason, but it's typical Netflix.
So did it end on like a cliffhanger, or did it have like an actual ending?
Don't know yet. As in the final season or final episodes haven't aired.
Okay.
All right. For all you Batwoman fans, there's a huge status quo change with the announcement of, I hope I'm not butchering her name, Javicia Leslie has been cast as a series' new star going into season 2. Leslie, a bisexual actress, will be taking over the series from Ruby Rhodes, who departed the show after the first season. Leslie's roles include God Friended Me and The Family Business. So it's an interesting take. From what I'm told, she's supposed to be a completely different character. She will not be Katie Kane.
Okay.
However, rumors have circulated that season 2 will be about where is Katie Kane.
So leaving the window open for Ruby Rose to come back if need be?
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to go instead of killing her.
Yeah, little detective work.
Yeah, exactly. And then another Batman show is in the works. Another Batman prequel. This time on HBO Max. It will focus once again on the Gotham City Police Department as Gotham City begins to fall under criminal control. No cast has been announced. They're thinking that some people from the new Batman movie that's coming out will reprise their roles in this show, but nothing's confirmed, like I said.
So this is kind of like a prequel.
It's another prequel. Yep.
To Gotham City going to the tubes.
I don't think we need it, to be honest, but I mean, I guess a show's a show, work for actors and writers, and especially now, but I know they have Teen Titans out on the DC universe. I'd like to see a Robin show or a Nightwing show.
Nightwing, yeah.
Power Rangers fans. Now, this is exciting for if you're Power Rangers fans. According to Illuminerd, The upcoming Power Rangers reboot from Hasbro and Paramount Pictures will not only feature time travel, but will also be part of the TV universe. Female-led Power Rangers team will be sent by Zordon to a different continuity, which will interact with the TV universe.
So they having the old TV cast back, or are they?
Well, it's a reboot, so I'm sure it's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
be, and then time travel's involved, so I'm thinking it's gonna be younger kids for the crowds,
Mm,
and something for the old folks, or old now. You'll see the original Power Rangers team. The main villain will be Lord Zed. So
is Alpha going to be in it?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, of course. Yeah, Hasbro's still trying to get that universe going. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line they try and do like an Avengers thing with Micronauts, Mask. I mean, they've been trying to do that for years now. But yeah, I'm happy to see this.
You're a Power Rangers. You're a Power Rangers fan?
Initially, no. It actually grew on me. I started getting into it.
Yeah,
But,
I remember.
That's exciting.
There was a version they had in the Disney Hollywood Studios. You could see, I don't know what version of the Power Rangers, but I remember they would come out for like a meet and greet. It's fairly recently. I can't remember what year, to be honest with you. I do remember it.
You have anything else you'd like to add?
So just a little thing I heard from a friend. Our toys get us through some of the roughest moments of our life. Probably a child going through their parents' divorce, maybe even somebody coming out. When you're picked on, toys get us through more stuff than I think we ever realize. And sometimes we don't realize it until later on. And I think Toy Story, the movie, really helped portray that. I was speaking to a friend the other day, my buddy in Florida. We're just going to call him, well, his name is Jacques. He knows who he is. He told me something pretty interesting. We were discussing things, and he was talking about how he used to collect He-Man. He had a ton of stuff. He had a friend who had a younger brother, and the younger brother used to get all the older brother's hand-me-downs. And that's kind of common when parents have you get a lot of kids, especially the same sex. They get their brother's hand-me-downs, whatnot. Kid never really had his own personal toys. So at one point, I guess my friend was not outgrowing, because he's a collector to this day, but he was kind of done with He-Man. He had Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, Eternia, and he made sure and he that the kid's mother would allow this, and he gave his friend's little brother his entire He-Man collection. And this kid's face lit up like you wouldn't believe. So I think it's one of the nicest things ever. And whether or not the kid still has him, I kind of like to think he's collecting He-Man to this day. But it was a nice gesture. And that's the power of toys, that they they can bring out the best in you, like him being generous, and they can get you through those rough times in your life, even as a collector. So be good to your toys.
I know everyone's jumping on the Walmart bash wagon, but I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. So last week, there was a special item, a Transformers DeLorean. If you're a Transformers fan and Back to the Futures fan, this thing was perfect for you. So apparently it went on sale, sold out in minutes. At least a third of them wound up on eBay. Now, no one knew when they were going to start the auction or open it up. The pre-order. And we're seeing a lot of this in the toy collecting community. We're always, I understand we're a small group. I keep hearing that, we're very vocal, but we're very tiny. All these vendors using bots and things of that nature, putting everything out on eBay, ridiculous prices. It's killing the industry, I feel. It's hurting. Most of us aren't millionaires. We're not gonna. I mean, I'll admit I'm accused of overpaying for toys myself. But here's what it needs to boil down to. If you're gonna come out with something special, make it for everybody. Don't just have like a special thing for because it's frustrating. And then at the end of the day, why even bother? You know.
Yeah.
Now, the nice thing about this DeLorean, the Transformer DeLorean, is there'll be another set coming out in October. Hopefully, that will be widespread. But if you're a completionist, this must be driving you crazy. I mean, you can go on eBay right now, and I think the highest one was $1,985.
Wow.
Yeah, because that was the year Back to the Future came out.
1985. Yeah.
Walmart needs to reevaluate their laws and rules governing. The thing that they're also missing out on is the reason for the exclusives is to get us in stores to buy other things.
Right.
Okay? You keep putting stuff online, not really getting us into the stores. You know? So they need to revamp their model, especially if they want to continue, because eventually, I mean, it's going to be a double-sided sword or a two-sided sword. Eventually, we're going to stop buying, which means they're going to stop making things, and that just hurts the industry once again. There's Big Bad Toy Store,
Entertainment Earth,
the new one, Megapolis,
Super 7.
Well, yeah, no, Super 7 knows what they're doing at this point. I'm talking about, other toy retailers.
Okay.
We're living in a non-Toys R Us world. They need to step it up. And now that you said Super 7, Hasbro Pulse also needs to step up their game, because they've been slacking as well. There's a few figures have orders out. They promised me 1 day of shipping, and they didn't deliver on it. So they need to up their game as well, because once again, you can go on eBay and find anything.
Yeah.
You're going to pay a premium price though for it, which is BS in my point. I'm tired of these scalpers making money on our love for toys.
I'd say most a lot of collectors, they have a mortgage, they have bills, they put aside a little money to collect.
Oh, sure. I mean,
can't compete with that,
Here's Toy Bro also does this, but here's what I say. Like Snake Mountain from Super 7, $600. I said Snake Mountain is a car payment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have it, God bless, but I'm also looking out for the guy that, the hard worker that also deserves toys.
Sure.
But, just doesn't or can't, spend that much money.
Sure. And I think majority probably of us and a lot of our listeners probably are in that camp, which is not an insult. It's, everybody's working for a living, and
it's realistic.
Right now. Yeah. My wife would kill me if I spent that kind of money. I would kill myself if I spent that kind of money. I could not justify that.
Exactly.
And it, like you said, it's gonna.
And if you want to know the truth, it also ruins the experience.
Yeah, because you're gonna get frustrated, and it's a good point.
Well, one of my goals and my collecting goals, or my holy grail, maybe someday when I retire, I'll be able to afford one. Maybe, is the first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It has been my holy grail, my unachievable piece to my comic collection. And I tell everybody, once I get that book, that'll probably be the last comic I'll ever buy. Now, right now, it's a substantial price. Obviously, it deserves to be. It's rare. But when I hang it on my wall or display it along with my collection, will I actually see the history that it truly is? Or am I going to see the 20 grand I just spent on a book? So
which one do you think?
That's what I want to avoid. You
want to see the history.
I want to see exactly. I want to see the book for what it is, not the money I just spent on it. Same thing with these scalpers. Now, I enjoy Transformers. I like them. I'm mostly a masterpiece collector, but if I love Back to the Future, if I love Transformers, and I get to have a Transformer DeLorean, I want it to be available for me. I don't want to be able to help some eBay guy, who could care less, just make a ridiculous profit off my love of Transformers. So I think that's something that the industry needs to deal with, because it is going to get worse, and it's going to get worse for both ends, I think.
And this is off of the website it happened?
It did, yep.
Okay.
Off the Walmart website, yep.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I understand again, it'll be released again in October. But if you're a completionist, or if you really want that numbered one, it's going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And it hurts the industry. It hurts the industry as a whole.
I think probably the industry's hurting right now too, because of this whole COVID thing. A lot of things are pushed back, or might have been canceled, toy lines or products, and who knows what's going on with toys being made. I do know that Looking Toy Fair 2021 is scheduled for next February, but will it happen? I don't know. We're still too far off to tell. I hope it happens, and I hope you get to go. If I have to wear a mask, I'll happily do that. But who really knows? And something like this, where you just want to get something, a little pick me up, make yourself feel happy, which everybody deserves. And you work and you pay your bills, and it's just like you want to treat yourself to something. That sucks when it happens.
Sure. It's a topic for another day, I guess.
That is.
So I'd like to give a big thank you to Brian Salvatore for our music, our intro and outro. Shared Universe Podcast Studios for all their assistance. Join the conversation at toyspodcast@gmail.com. We are now on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podbeam. Follow us on social media. Twitter is @Toyline, Instagram @Toyline, and Facebook, Toylines or Toy Shelf Magazine.
And just for everybody out there, it is the summer. Try to get some sun. But for any of you pet owners, don't take your dog out and leave him in the car, please. It's not cool. That is animal cruelty. It is way too friggin' hot for that poor animal.
Or your children, believe it or
or your
not.
children. I mean, it's sad that we even have to say it. But,
I was just going to say that. Yeah, please wear a mask. It's crazy out there.
And be patient. The New Jersey people were fighting at the DMV the other day because of this, because of long lines. We just got to be patient. Be like Bill and Ted. Just be excellent to each other. And be safe. You got to be safe. But we will be back with another broadcast excellency. I don't know. Can we use that term?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're getting there.
Yeah. If you are bored and want something to read, always remember we have toy reviews articles at www.toy-lines.com. Yes. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you, folks.
Take care.
Tommy, be good.
Play with your toys.